Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. Have you ever noticed that some people never really leave? Years pass, life changes, people move away, careers begin, families grow, entire chapters of life come and go. Yet somehow certain people remain with us, not physically, but internally. A coach says something to you at 17 years old, and decades later, you can still hear their voice. A teacher makes a comment in a classroom, and years later you remember the exact moment. A parent teaches a lesson so deeply that it becomes part of how you see the world. And a friend says something in passing that changes the way you think forever. Why is that? Most conversations disappear. Most moments fade. Most people become memories. Yet a few become something else. They become part of us. Perhaps that's one of the great mysteries of life. We enter the lives of thousands of people. We meet classmates, teammates, coworkers, neighbors, coaches, mentors, friends. Most of them pass through our lives like travelers passing through a station. We share a season, a conversation, and a chapter, then life moves on. But every now and then, someone stays. Not in our calendar or in our contacts or not in our daily routine. They stay somewhere deeper. They become part of the story we tell ourselves about who we are. And perhaps that's why relationships matter so much. Not because they fill our time, but because they shape our identity. When we are young, we often choose people based on proximity. Who sits beside us, who plays on our team, who shares our interests, who makes us laugh, or who makes us feel accepted. There's nothing wrong with that. But eventually life asks a more important question. Not who do I enjoy being around, but who am I becoming because of them? That question changes everything because relationships are not merely companions on our journey. They are architects of our becoming. Every meaningful relationship leaves something behind. A belief, a habit, a fear, a dream, a standard, a way of seeing the world. But something remains. The person we may leave, the influence often stays. Well, think about your own life. When you face adversity, whose voice do you hear? When you need courage, who first taught you what courage looks like? When you need discipline, who showed you discipline? When you need faith, who demonstrated faith? When you need integrity, who taught you integrity? The people who shape our lives most do not simply influence our decisions. They become part of the inner conversation that guides our decisions. That may be why coaching matters so much. Not because coaches teach skills, many people can teach skills. Great coaches shape perspectives. Years after athletes forget the plays, the practices, and the scores, they often remember a sentence, a conversation, a standard, an expectation, something that became part of who they are. The same is true of teachers. The same is true of parents, mentors, and friends. The greatest influence is rarely loud. It's usually very quiet. It enters our lives unnoticed and remains there for decades. And perhaps this is why choosing people is one of the most important decisions we make. Not because every relationship lasts forever. They don't. But because every relationship leaves something behind. Some people leave us with courage. Some leave us with fear. Some leave us with confidence. Some leave us with doubt. Some expand our world. Some make it smaller. Some call us toward growth. Some tempt us toward comfort. The difficult part is that we often do not recognize the difference until years later. Time has a way of revealing what influence concealed. When we look back, we begin to see it. That coach changed my life. That teacher changed my life. That mentor or that friendship changed my life. At the time, it felt ordinary. Looking back, it feels significant. And maybe that's because the most important relationships are not measured by how much time we spend together. They are measured by how much they shape who we become. As I grow older, I find myself asking a different question about relationships. Not do these people like me, not do I enjoy being around them, or do they agree with me, but who am I becoming because of them? Because one day, 15 or 20 years from now, that might be the only question that matters. Imagine meeting yourself 15 years in the future. What would that future version of you say about the people closest to you today? Would they say they challenged me? They strengthened me? They made me wiser? They made me more courageous? They helped me become the person I was meant to become? Or would they say they kept me comfortable? They lowered my standards. They distracted me. They pulled me away from what matters most. That future answers tells you more about a relationship than how it feels today. Because the ultimate measure of a relationship is not whether someone makes you happy. The ultimate measure is whether they help shape the person you are becoming. And perhaps that leads to an even deeper question. If other people helped shape the voice inside your head, whose voice are you becoming in someone else's life? That question changes everything. Because suddenly this is no longer about finding the right people. It becomes about becoming the right person. The kind of coach whose words remain. The kind of teacher whose influence lasts. The kind of mentor whose wisdom survives. And the kind of friend whose presence makes another life better. One day, people may forget our accomplishments. They may forget our titles. They may forget our awards. They may even forget many of the things we achieved, but they will remember how we made them think, how we challenged them, how we believed in them, how we changed them. Because people leave fingerprints on our lives. Some leave fingerprints on our memories. A few leave fingerprints on our souls. And wisdom is learning the difference. Thank you for joining me for episode 21 of Beyond the Scoreboard. Until next time, choose your people carefully, become the kind of person worth choosing, and remember that some of life's most important lessons are found beyond the scoreboard.